Hello YouTube and welcome to another episode of Behind the Wall presented by Perky Jerky. I'm Thermite917 along with Probo 43, and Kane is not here. He is busy delivering his packages at IPS. Plus he still has to watch the races when he gets home. So we'll take it from here, Kane. You know, we'll see you later. But this weekend it was the Brickyard, the Big Machine Vodka 400, which is a stupid name, so I'm going to call it the Brickyard 400. Xfinity was also this weekend. They were both today on Monday. Frickin' Mother Nature, but we'll get to that in a bit. Tyler has the recap, so take it away.
Sure do. So since Mother Nature completely wiped out everything, it was a green track, there was no practice, no qualifying, no nothing. So the field was started by owner points, Kyle Busch on the pole. They got right going. There was two competition cautions, so those were the first two yellows of the race, one at lap 12 and one at lap 32. The first incident of the day was Martin Truex Jr., very small one, but going into turn one, his left front brake rotor exploded, and that ended his day. Didn't make any contact with the wall, but he was still done. They got back rolling, and the stage was concluded. Clint Bowyer got the victory there. The next incident was shortly after the race resumed to start stage two, and that's where Bubba Wallace lost his brakes going into turn three. Very similar incident to Pocono, but this time he was just spinning around, had the thing saved, never made any contact, and then of course the old Rick Ware racing cars come along, the 52 spins out, and David Starr doesn't know where he's going. He's too old, shouldn't be behind the wheel of a cup car anymore, but at least Rick Ware Racing will take their newly purchased $35,000 tractor trailer from BK Racing and take those pieces of shit home. So the race resumed, and there was another incident once again, this time with AJ Allmendinger plowing it into turn two underneath Alex Bowman, taking them both out. AJ was out of the race completely, and Alex was totally running a shitbox for the rest of the afternoon. One more yellow before the end of stage two, that was JJ Yaley, letting everybody know he was in the field. Then strategy came into play before the end of the second stage. Guys were deciding whether they were going to pit or not. Most of the top 10 ended up pitting, and somehow Matt Kenseth, who was having a terrific day, ended up finding himself in the lead, and he took the stage 2 victory. So that started the final stage of the race, and there was no yellows for the majority of it until about 15 laps to go, when there was debris on the front stretch, and all the pit cycle had just concluded. Brad Keselowski, who had stayed out for the longest bit of time, had just pit as the caution flew. That pretty much changed the game for a lot of people. Some decided to pit under that yellow. Brad Keselowski obviously decided to stay out. He restarted in 7th place, and obviously a split strategy like I just mentioned. So that sets up what you thought was going to be the final restart. Denny Hamlin looked prime. Clint Bowyer was right behind as well. And there was an incident with 5 laps to go as Landon Castle and Jeffrey Earnhardt got into a huge crash in turn 3. Jeffrey got a little loose underneath Landon and overcorrected with a massive hit to the outside retaining wall. And that is the final caution of the race. Denny Hamlin led the field to the restart, but Brad Keselowski, who was on those fresher tires, restarted in 3rd and was able to take the fight to him with 3 laps to go. They banged, touched doors a little bit. Brad was able to get by him and didn't look back, taking his 2nd consecutive victory, 2 crown jewel races in a row, Penske's first win at the Brickyard in NASCAR. And that is it for the regular seasons. But let's take a look at the top 10 rundown of this race. Brad Keselowski is your winner. Eric Jones is surprise 2nd. Denny Hamlin had to settle for 3rd. Kevin Harvick and Clint Bowyer round out the top 5. Kurt Busch, Jamie McMurray, Kyle Busch, Paul Menard, and Ryan Newman are the rest of the top 10 finishers. A couple of additional stats. The most laps led on the day were by 2 drivers at 37 laps, one of them being Denny Hamlin and the other was Clint Bowyer. So there it is, the Big Machine Vodka 400. It's time to give race ratings. Nick, you're up.
Well, at first this might seem a little high. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Last year was crazier with all the wrecks and everything, and the rain really sucked this weekend, pushing both races to Monday. But when you think about it, there was a lot of good racing for Indy, and the strategy really made things exciting. You never really knew who was going to win. Like you said, even Kenseth won stage 2. Who would have thought that would happen? And as you got to the end, there was the fresh tires versus older tires, and there was some beating and banging, not to mention the amazing call by the announcers, once again doing their radio-style broadcast like Watkins Glen. And I don't know, I just really liked the feel of the race. It's the last one before the playoffs. They moved this race to the fall, and I don't know how much that helped or not, but it certainly didn't hurt it. And I'm glad it didn't turn into a whole tire wear debacle like 2008, like they were worried about at first because they had no practice. But all things considered, it was a pretty entertaining race, and I really don't have a lot of complaints about it. So, Tyler, what is your rating?
Yeah, I was going to give the exact same rating, and I will. So 8 out of 10. It's crazy because I remember giving a 7.5 out of 10 for last year's race. But the thing that this race gets over that one is the racing and just the general flow of the race was just better. I remember through 2 stages in last year's one, it was just the most dull thing, and you just like, why am I watching this? Indy sucks so bad. And I'll be honest, our expectations going into this race were still low, regardless of the factors of, oh, well, there's been no track time all weekend, green track, and sure, that's great, but at the same time, it's still Indy. And I think for Indy, it just was a good race. There was a lot of track position shuffling, and there was a handful of cautions, 10 for 39 laps, so that broke the flow, but at the same time, that was a good thing. That's what we needed to pump some life into this, and obviously with a late race caution as well, that changed the game a little bit, and I think actually did change the outcome. So it was a good thing. I just enjoyed this race. I can't believe that I'm satisfied with an Indy race for the 2nd year in a row. That's just crazy to me. And I never would have expected that, even though there wasn't that playoff drama that you want, it still was a really good race considering the fact that it's now the last race before the playoffs start. So we'll take it. I think it's the best way to look at it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we'll move on. Okay, now it's time to hand out some awards for the Indianapolis race doubleheader. Leading off with that classic boner of the week, there's always somebody with a raging one. Nick, who was it?
It's actually kind of surprising. It goes to a relatively clean driver that doesn't have many problems, but it goes to Cole Custer because with 29 laps to go, he flat out wasn't clear and chopped Brandon Jones' nose off and whacked the grass and destroyed the front end of the car and then hit the inside wall down the backstretch. And his day was done. He actually finished 29th as well, so I guess that's the magic number for him. But even he admitted it. It was his fault. He cut off the 19. The spotter said clear at first, but I guess Jones had a run, and that just wasn't meant to be. So sucks to suck, I guess. I mean, he was having a decent run, but didn't finish it off, so that's unfortunate. Next award.
Next award is Weekend from Hell, and that goes to Martin Truex Jr., who, first of all, we all know the news now. Furniture Royal Racing won't return, and so that's obviously a bad start to the weekend, but they're going to keep their heads down and still, try to get after wins, but it was not meant to be this weekend as they had a problem with their brakes. It seemed like they addressed it, but obviously they had no track time to really know that or not. They had to start in the rear, worked their way up a little bit. He had some speed for sure, but ended up having that brake rotor problem out of nowhere. I guess they're lucky they didn't leave with a completely destroyed race car, but at the same time, they still finished dead last. As he said, hopefully they got their bad luck out of the way now, but either way, sucks to suck in Indy. Sorry about your luck there, and that's 2 years in a row that you DNF. It's a shame you couldn't have taken somebody else out with you in an 18 car, but we won't talk about that anymore. Next award.
All right, we have a classic, and I don't want to disappoint Kane because he's not here, but it is the Straight Jacket Award! And it goes to Mother Nature again. Oh, she pissed all over everything once again. This time it was the remnants of Tropical Depression Gordon. And man, it certainly depressed all of us because it just wouldn't stop raining over there for like 5 million days. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but it still felt like it. And it wasn't even like a hard rain the whole time. It was like a freaking torrential mist or something, and it just delayed the activity and they couldn't get it in. Both races were Monday like we've already mentioned, but fortunately it was really nice weather today. Even the sun came out, so it really wasn't all that bad. It could have been a lot worse, but Mother Nature, you must be freaking crazy. Next award.
Yes, the next award are the Cigar Awards, and we got a small little fleet to hand out. First off, from the Xfinity race, we have to give a cigar to everybody involved in the 4-wide finish at the end of Stage 1. That was terrific. So Justin Allgaier and Cole Custer were going at it pretty good, and it looked like it was going to be a great finish between those two. But out of freaking nowhere, John Hunter Nemechek in third goes to the bottom, Ryan Preece in fourth goes to the outside, and they both end up beating those two in the middle in a photo finish, John Hunter getting the win, but 4 wide to end the stage. That is gotta be the best stage finish in any of the series since they implemented the stage racing format. So that was absolutely awesome. The shame the finish wasn't like that, but they all get cigars. The next cigar goes to the race winner, Justin Allgaier, and even though the finish was anticlimactic, he still did a great job. I mean, that's his 3rd win in the last 5 races and 5th overall on season. They just seem like they're on an absolute tear with a ton of momentum going into the playoffs, so heavy championship favorite there, but you already knew that. The final Xfinity cigar goes to Chase Briscoe, and that's incredible because driving that number 60 car, which is 18 for 23 in wrecks this season, he finished 9th, and he did have some damage on the car, but he narrowly missed destroying Cole Custer after his incident. So, them having luck? That is completely unheard of. That is brand new information. So, wow, they got another top 10. Nice job, 60 team. And handing the last 2 cigars over to Nick. Take it away.
Yeah, we have 2 Cub cigars. The first one goes to race winner Brad Keselowski, getting back-to-back wins. He won the Southern 500 last week and now the Brickyard 400s, the 2 crown jewel races. So they're just really starting to get hot at the right time, and it's always nice to peak right before the playoffs, so he could be a real threat here. But this is Penske's first Brickyard 400 win, so that's huge. And obviously last week at Darlington, that was the first win there since 1975. So 2 big milestone wins for them, so congratulations. Our final cigar goes to Matt Kenseth. Who are you? Why is Roush having a good finish? This was obviously a good idea putting Kenseth in this car because I don't think Trevor Bayne would have done that. Kenseth finished 12th.
12th!
12th. And he won stage 2! It was his best finish of the season. Even though they won the stage, they had the wrong strategy call. They chose not to go for a good overall finish and get some playoff points, which really didn't matter because they're splitting the ride with that 6. So I really don't know what they were trying to do other than getting some TV time and trying to show Roush that they can touch the lead for a while. He actually did deserve better, though, because they dropped the jack on the final pit stop. So he recovered from the bad strategy, and then he had the bad pit stop, which cost him yet again. So it was just an up-and-down kind of day, but still to finish 12th after all that was pretty impressive. So I believe we have one more award left. We always do this build-up, so you know what's coming. Tyler, what is it?
Oh, it's the grind out! And it goes to 3rd place finisher Denny Hamlin. Oh, he had some real salty comments after the race.
Not have meaningless guys in the back wreck. I mean, I don't know what they're doing, crashing with a couple laps to go, multiple laps down. Meaningless.
Oh, Danny! You lost another race! Your winless streak is at 37! Oh, I know. Even with the 10,037 races that you've run in your career, it still always hurts to lose! Oh, you big FedEx baby!
Denny! Oh my god! Those lap cars are meaningless. They have every right to be out there like everyone else. I'm sorry that they wrecked. Everyone is. But that's part of racing. If you can't handle it, then maybe go to the Xfinity series like Kevin Harvick and feel good about yourself. They say that FedEx has excitement inside or something stupid like that, but that must have not been the excitement you were looking for, you big baby.
Oh, those comments post-race, Denny, I think you're a dirty veteran.
A dirty veteran!
Was Santa driving one of those lap cars? Just to screw you over?
That would be funny. That'd be a good side story. But Denny, god damn it! Oh, I get it. You're frustrated. You lost another damn race. But the comments, don't be like that now. That makes you look just as classless as Mr. Kevin Harvick, Xfinity champ of all time from last week. Damn it, Denny! I already don't like you, and that just makes you climb up the list a little bit more. So, your package delivery rate is poor.
Special delivery, asshole.
Special delivery of another loss, Denny! Sucks to suck! Well, now it's time for the best paint scene of the week, but man, we've only got one honorable mention. You knew we weren't going to be able to top anything from Darlington, so a little bit of a letdown, but it's the JJ Yaley, is it BK Racing? Whatever the hell team it is anymore. And we've already seen that kind of paint scheme on their unsponsored car, and that's a solid looking one. But this week they had a nice little tribute that pays homage to the late Burt Reynolds, who died this week. And that symbol that's on the hood is from one of his most famous movies, Smokey and the Bandit, that was on the hood of his Pontiac Trans Am, real badass looking mobile. So that was a nice little touch, even though it sure as shit shouldn't be on a Toyota. But we'll gloss over that. Nice tribute. And Nick, now for the shit part of the week.
Yeah, that's always fun. We got a worst paint scheme. It is Kevin Harvick's Jimmy John's Ford. And I tell you, Stuart Haas is just a step below Hendrick for some of the worst paint schemes this year. Because what are they doing here? Alright, first of all, you're advertising your new 9-grain wheat sub. So somewhere Cody Coughlin peeks his head out and wakes up from his nap because he smelled his sub. And great, but just don't put the plain text on the side. Like, do it in a little bit more creative way. Like, they'll get your sub. Calm down. Cody's already in line. And then, to the actual paint scheme part, what are you doing around the hood and behind the front tire? Like, I understand kinda you want to have more black on the nose, and you gotta curve it down, you know, that's not great, but whatever. The stupid thing is the red line that continues from the side of the car and just goes straight through the black curve. Like, it just passes go, do not collect 200, just go right to jail. Like, what do you, that's not good design. Like, at least start to curve it and maybe stop it above the tire. Just try something different. That doesn't work.
No, hell no. They should have just continued that red line up over the curve. It still wouldn't have looked great, but at least it would have made more sense.
Yeah, and overall it's just a plain paint scheme anyway, like their other Jimmy John's was. But even the primary does a little bit better job than this, so stop it. We need a better paint scheme.
Total ass.
Get off my screen.
Get off the screen, and you know what? I ain't going to Jimmy John's, and you can shove your 9-grain wheat sub up your ass! And the segment was a little bit of rage. Fuck you, Jimmy John's. I don't like your overrated and overpriced sandwiches anyways.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Jimmy
Bitch. Now it's time for the fantasy results and picks from Indianapolis, and Kane is the winner once again, who picked Kyle Busch, finishing 8th and got 35 points. Damani took Kevin Harvick, who finished 4th and got 33 points. I finished 3rd, taking Kyle Larson, who got 14th, only getting 30 points. And Nick rounds out the rear, who picked Martin Truex Jr., finishing in the cellar, got a little 1 point. So Nick's obviously incredibly happy about that. Now, as this race was the final race in the regular season, it's time to recap our fantasy points. So to finish out the regular season, Kane is the winner with 1,033 points. I finished 56 behind. Damani finishes 173 behind, and Nick rounds out the rear with 201 back. So what we're going to do is, obviously, since it's playoff time, it's time to reset the points. To make it simple, every fantasy win that we've earned during the season, it has been tallied up and has been determined that Kane has won 10 times, I have won 10 times, and Nick has won 6 times. Damani, big fat goose egg. So it's going to be 1 point per win. And Kane, since he is the regular season champion and he's earned it, he will get 5 additional bonus points. So here is the playoff reset. Kane will have 1,015. I will be 5 back. Nick will be 9 back. And Damani will be 4th, 15 back. So now we head to Las Vegas, the very first race in the playoffs. And Nick, you have the first selection. Who are you taking?
Well, this is not a surprise. He doesn't have the best paint schemes, but he usually has one of the best cars. I'm going with Kevin Harvick. Wheat sub! I don't know, it's the playoffs. He steps up. That's his thing. It's Las Vegas, another mile and a half. It's going to be Harvick. What else can you say? Tyler, what else can you say?
I'm not going to say anything else other than I'm taking Kyle Busch. Exactly. Damani, we never hear you anymore, but who you taking? And Kane, you're also not here. I know you're delivering packages, so why don't you deliver us your pick?
Ow!
Thank you, Kane. Beautiful fantasy segment. Well, that does it for another episode of Behind the Wall, always presented by Perky Jerky. So, for Damani HD, he's the guy that you know nothing about, but yet he's still somehow a part of the show because we just force it. Damani's a great guy, though. It's a shame. We need him on the podcast more often. For Doug Heifer Kane Jr. 88, He had those packages to deliver. I'm sure he did a great job. For Thermite 917 and for myself, Pro Bowl 43, we had fun leading the way. We don't do it that often, but we had a good time, right, Nick?
Yeah.
I'm glad you were weird about saying that, but this has been Behind the Wall. You've been behind the wall, and thank you for listening.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?
Big machine!
Yeah.
The hell was that?
I was trying to say vodka.
It didn't come out right.
All right.
Okay. All right. Gotta gear up.
Yeah. Straight Jacket Award. Obviously plug it in, but that's an outtake.
Straight Jacket Award. Because if you didn't do it, I was going to do it. Then we did it at the same time, so that was cute.
The Jag Silverado finished 13th.
Did they do well? No. Oh, Kane. Kane. Stop it.
We miss him, kind of.
Not really. I picked Kyle Larson, finished 14th. He only got 30 points.
Sorry, I did that too early.
You did that way too early.
Oh man, I couldn't hold it. Just picturing how you're going to fit those in. And then Kane, why don't you deliver us your pick?
Wheat sub! Oh!
Wheat sub!
For Kane Heifer.
Man.
I just call Kane a heifer. A heifer is a fat whore.
we could have done without that. But for anyone that doesn't know, now you know.
I think it is. I'm gonna look it up now.
I thought it was a cow or something.
A heifer is, oh wow, it is a young female cow that is not born a calf. I don't know.
So they hadn't gotten pregnant?
I guess not, but we're going to the Urban Dictionary. Okay, so it is a calf, but it's still fat.
Meaningless.